Hi there guys, welcome back to another update from UK Reefer. I hope you're all keeping very safe and well. Sorry there wasn't a February update, I was just absolutely snowed under with work. But obviously now that we're all on this lockdown, I'm going to try and use the time positively to try and crank out as many videos as I possibly can for you. As you can probably see from the on-screen video, we have had a bit of a rescape. I've basically looked at the brand new corals that I'd bought and decided to move the big purple stylo in the middle over to the corner because it was really starting to overshadow a lot of the corals underneath it. And I've created this type of archway that I'm hoping that I can just completely fill all across the top with SPS and predominantly Acropora, fingers crossed. I have managed to glue in a lot of the new acros that I bought, so they're now all in, and as you can see they're already starting to base out quite well. So I'm hoping that over the next 2-3 months or so we can really get the tank dialed in and get them growing quite quickly. I've also bought some brand new corals. I took a trip down to Reef Dreams with a friend and bought these three brand new frags. One of them is a Pinky the Bear, the other one is a Strawberry Shortcake, and the one behind it is a blue Huxami Acropora. I just couldn't leave that in the shop, to be honest with you. It's absolutely stunning. So they've been on the frag rack for probably the best part of 2 to 3 weeks now, so I'm now going to use the time that I've got off to get all of these glued in and getting the tank looking tip top. One thing I did manage to do before the lockdown happened was I picked up a pair of Mandarins to replace the two that we lost probably the best part of 10 months ago now, believe it or not. I'll be honest, they're absolutely massive compared to the old ones that we'd got, but they are literally just starting to pair. I noticed the other night they were kind of trying to do the little dance that the old ones used to do as the lights were going down, so fingers crossed they're going to pair up nicely. One thing I have been looking into quite heavily over the last month or so is the levels of the tank. I'm obviously running Triton Core 7, but one thing I did do was I switched from the full Core 7 to other methods. I was getting a little bit of hair algae that it just would not go, to be honest. I tried everything. I literally did everything. I was even pulling it out weekly, every water change. It just kept coming back. So one thing I did do is I just switched to other methods, and I was just literally going to just do that for a month. Just so that the refugium would take up the elements, because obviously the Core 7 has extra elements that helps algae grow in your refugium. But for me, I'm not overly sure that my refugium is the full 10% that they recommend. So I switched to other methods because that doesn't have the elements in to grow the refugium, hoping that would starve out the algae in the display. And touch wood, so far so good. The algae in this display is literally melted away, and I haven't seen it for quite some time now. So that does seem to be working. One thing that did worry me about switching to other methods was whether I was going to starve the corals of elements that the refugium was going to be sucking down. So I did an ICP with Triton to just check that the levels weren't being sucked down, and fortunately they weren't. The issue that was flagged up with Triton though was that I had high levels of zinc, copper, cobalt and molybdenum. Now I wasn't expecting that whatsoever. I have spoken to Triton and asked their thoughts on it, because I'm still not fully convinced that they are in there. And one thing they did say was that they kind of half blame the salt. Now I'm using Red Sea Blue Bucket, and I'm not overly sure if it would be the salt, mainly because it's the same salt that I was using in my last water change when I did my last ICP, which showed no levels of metals whatsoever. But with us being on this lockdown, I've decided to just follow it, follow their advice, which included using detox for 3 days, then to add carbon and start doing 15% water changes weekly for 6 weeks. What I'm going to do in the next video is show you exactly what we're doing to combat these possible heavy metals that are in our system, because obviously they are pretty rough on corals if you have got them. So I'm going to show you what we're doing using detox, how we've used detox, and the steps we're taking along with our ICP results. I've also decided that with each update that we do, I'm also going to share with you what our levels are currently. So that'll include things like alkalinity, calcium, magnesium, nitrate and phosphate, just so you can see how our tank is going and the levels that we are running to keep it at the standard it's at. If you've been following our videos, you'll have seen that we'd had a start of bubble algae, which was starting to turn into a bit of a plague, in all honesty. I am going to do an update on how that's going. The only thing we've really added at the moment is emerald crabs, which in fairness are starting to battle it. We added 3. We actually lost one very early on. He couldn't have been very good from the shop because he literally died within about 20 minutes of being in the tank. But the other 2 are actually battling away at eating the bubble algae. The only thing is I don't think they're eating it fast enough, as quick as it's been growing in some areas. So I have been siphoning it out as best I can. But once all this lockdown is over, one thing I am thinking about doing is adding a fox face. I mean, they're a known algae eater. They are known to eat bubble algae. Obviously in the past I had an issue with a Fiji fox face which decided to start eating my corals. But fingers crossed we can get lucky and get one that will start to take out this bubble algae and keep it all under control. I'm going to cut that short there, guys, but one thing I am going to do is I'm going to start working straight away on the update for next week. So fingers crossed this time next week you've got a brand new video to watch, which is all going to be about detox and trying to remove these heavy metals that we've apparently got. Thanks again for subscribing to the channel. It really does mean a lot that you're supporting us. And I hope you all stay very well, very safe, and fingers crossed we'll be out of this nightmare very soon. So thanks again, guys. I really appreciate it.